MercadoLibre has seen incredible growth over the last couple of years. Why was it in such a strong position when the shift or that advance in e-commerce in Latin America really started to gather force? And obviously, MercadoLibre has kind of pushed and been pulled, I suppose, if you want to put it that way. But why was it in that kind of position?
So first of all, thank you, Nick and Wired, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here. So basically, Mercado Libre is a pretty young company of 22 years, and I would say in the last 3 or 4, previous to the pandemic, we've been really working on building this ecosystem of solution, both in terms of the e-commerce and fintech, which is very, very critical in order to be able to digitalize everything in Latin America. We were probably, 10 to 15 years behind, the more developed markets. So basically, what we were doing during those 3 to 4 years previous to the pandemic was really building everything we needed in terms of infrastructure to create a logistics network that enabled us to really be able to reach very, very far away areas. And if you think of Latin America, we are pretty much present in 8 countries, and each one of those countries is like a continent on its own, right? And you have to reach very far away places with very bad routes. So what we had to do really was kind of build it from within, right? And be able to reach those very remote areas within a day or 2 days, and that was pretty unique and unheard of in Latin America. And we were very glad we did so right before the pandemic. Otherwise, with the growth of e-commerce that we all saw in all different countries and regions, we couldn't have done it, right? And the same happened with the fintech side, which was pretty much in very, very undeveloped in Latin America. Most of our citizens were not banked or underbanked, more than 50%. So basically, what we were doing all of these years was trying to develop and really distribute more democratizing solutions and tools in order to be able to integrate all of those people to our own ecosystem and networks. And all of that, I think, was what got us really prepared to this unheard of pandemic that we all suffer in the last 2 years. But it was great to be in that position, right? To be able to be kind of a leading role in these crazy times.
Absolutely. I mean, online sales in Latin America are still low compared to the US and Europe, despite the advances over the last couple of years. What was the key thing holding you back? I mean, I know in terms of banking, there's a huge. I'm not saying it's a problem, but the amount of people who have bank accounts simply in Latin America is way below what it is in the States and Europe. Was that the key factor?
Well, that's definitely one of the key factors. So I was saying, when you have 50% of your population that don't have a credit card or a debit card, then you're pretty much not enabling that to be a very good experience. We did have solutions that meant people were, printing a label and then going to a place offline in order to pay cash for that transaction. And that's still available, but it has been reduced dramatically because we were able to provide all of these different solutions that meant, hey, you don't need a bank account in order to have a wallet and being able to pay through your own solution in your own cell phone. So what we were doing was pretty much democratizing all those tools for any mom and pop shop or any individual to be able to pay online and be part of that ecosystem. So that was one of the key factors. The second factor was that in Latin America, we were part of these different players that were not reaching our users within a very practical timing. So basically, if you had to wait for 4 or 5 days in order to receive your product, that's probably not convenient for you. It's not a very good value prop. So what we were doing, and we saw this very clearly, is if we pushed the envelope and we really get to our users within hours or 48 hours max, which is what we're trying to do. 80% plus of our products reach our users within 48 hours, and we're trying to push that to be 24 hours. Then you have an amazing value prop. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually be willing to buy not only your cell phones, and your computers, which is something we've always been playing very, very strongly in those industries and verticals, but also trying to buy, your T-shirts and your groceries. So basically what we're doing is, trying to be there with the more frequent purchases. And that can only be done if you have a very robust logistics solution as well.
But as you say, you developed your own payment system, Mercado Pago. So that was essential to the growth of the business, and now is a very kind of substantial business in its own right.
That is correct. And it's not only a payment solution, as I said, also a wallet, but it also enabled us to provide credits. And what we've done is we started providing credits, especially to our sellers in the platform. So all of those mom and pop shops that previously had never received a credit because they were not part of the bank system or because they were probably too risky for the traditional banking system. So basically, we have provided a lot of credits, 40% of which were given to companies, small and medium companies that had never received a credit before. And those credits allowed them to invest in working capital. So buying new merchandise or, buying a van in order to be able to distribute their products. And that's amazing when you see that ecosystem of, greater value added and more companies being able to become more digitalized and sell their products online. It's really, kind of like a virtuous cycle that we're very, very proud of.
Absolutely. As you say, a good part of the retailers on MercadoLibre are, mom and pop stores, as you said, SMEs. Can you talk a little bit more about the relationship with them and how you've developed that, and also, how their expectations have changed and they've obviously profited from the huge growth in online sales over the pandemic as well. How are they looking at the future and what are they asking you for?
Absolutely. So basically, we are the vast ecosystem of sellers and merchants in the region. Just to give you an idea, we have more than 12 million sellers on the platform, a large percentage of which arrived, after March of 2020, when pretty much selling online was their only option, right? Especially here in Latin America, the pandemic created that most of the stores were closed for a large number of months. In Argentina, for example, 6 or 7 months, they were pretty much closed to the public, and their only solution was to sell online. Same thing in some areas in Brazil that was very, very hard hit by the pandemic. So basically what we did is we elevated the bar and we said, we're going to teach you, we're going to create all of these different blogs and webinars in order to help you get into the digitalized solution and help you sell online. And we had amazing success stories of people, who sold, for instance, auto parts in a very remote place, in Cordoba in Argentina, and then they transformed themselves. And now more than 70% of what they sell is online, and that's incremental business that they didn't have before. So it's really, really amazing how fast they were able to be part of that change. And recently we ran a report with Euromonitor where we found out that 900,000 families live of what they make in MercadoLibre, of what they transact on our ecosystem. And that's pretty much unheard of in such a large ecosystem. That means 70% of those are family owned, so it's families that they probably work with their sons and daughters and nephews and whatnot, and that creates jobs. It creates for any of those companies, it creates anywhere from 5 to 11 jobs, each one of them. So basically what we're trying to do is be part of that movement that creates jobs and creates more tools for these companies to develop. And we've been trying to really follow up on everything that they are also asking us. So what I told you about credits was part of their own need, and we realized it was an amazing business for them, because we were able to have better risk models and therefore provide a better interest rate. And then, they are part of our own ecosystem selling on our platform, so we also know that they're going to be able to repay faster as well. So that's just one of our very good success stories of a win-win situation.
And retailers are using Mercado Pago, the payment system, outside of the MercadoLibre platform now. You have mobile POS systems. What impact do you think that could have on physical retail in the territories? Do you think there are lots of smaller retailers that can now experiment with physical retailers who were previously only online? Is that something you're looking at?
Absolutely, and it's not only retailers. It's pretty much any artisan. I was traveling this weekend in a very very remote area, and there was this couple that was trying to travel from the north of Argentina all the way to Ushuaia, and they were doing very very nice artistic stuff, and they were selling it through the QR code with Mercado Pago. I took a picture, tweeted it, and everything, because it's amazing, right? The only thing you have to do is have a cell phone with an internet connection, and then have a QR code, or you can have the little machine that it's kind of like the Square in the US, where you can also charge through that very simple POS system. So basically what we're trying to do is enable all of our merchants, all of our sellers to be able to be part of that ecosystem, really. And that has proven to be amazing. And similarly, on the e-commerce side, what we've created lately, and as part of the pandemic, are all these distribution centers. So basically, if you are willing to sell any type of merchandise, you don't have to have your own warehouse or your own distribution centers and logistics. You can pretty much rely on all the infrastructure we're creating in all of the countries. We have warehouses and distribution centers in Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, Colombia, Chile, and in all of those countries, what we've seen is when we can warehouse those items, we can get to you faster and really reduce all of that cost that usually merchants have to bear.
Okay. And the most transactions happening on mobile now? What is the kind of breakdown in terms of desktop and mobile? And is it just inexorably leading towards more and more kind of mobile commerce?
It's very mobile, especially in visits, but in transactions also. In the e-commerce side, it's more than 70% mobile. So basically what we do is we do everything mobile first. We develop everything on the app. We're still pushing for users to get the app, just because it's a much better experience. So yeah, very, very mobile.
So we're kind of closing in on the end of the time we have, but in terms of the end customers' expectations, and a lot of those are new customers, it seems, given the kind of exponential growth in SLPs. How do you see their demand shifting, and what they're asking for now? What are the key things they're looking for?
So many things. The first thing is we've created customers that are very demanding in terms of customer service, which I think is amazing. And what we're trying to do is getting to them faster with a much better value prop in terms of you can do free returns, easy returns. We're trying to get a lot of return and pick up points in order to be able to be in a more capillary way, for users to be able to use that. The ability to really return an item and not being at risk when buying something that you can't really touch and try on. And that will enable, some verticals that we are sure that we're going to be doing amazingly. We are starting now, but, such as, groceries and fashion and all of those new verticals that will imply that, our customers will come more often and really, try our system for more stuff than what they were used to.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Karen. I wish we had more time because the growth of MercadoLibre is a kind of such a fascinating story, but yeah, we've run out of time. But thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.